everyone, Wolfie checking in for another episode. Today, guys, I'm hoping to knock out a little bit more of the storage room. And this video also does come with a little bit of a warning. I'm currently sick, so apologies if my voice sounds really weird, but I'm really impatient to record this, so I'm just gonna power through. So if y'all can just bear with me, I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Alright, anyway, storage system. So we got all of the dirt and the gravel and the cracked bricks and all of the really good detail in last episode. So all of this now is going to get a little bit covered, but it's going to get covered in a really pretty way because it doesn't look the best, but that's for a reason. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to have vines and leaves and flowers and grass and possibly lily pads if I can figure that out, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. So I'm going to have a lot of very pretty elements here, and they're going to have a slight little theme. I have 2 different ideas, possibly 3. I'm going to take, and each level, as I mentioned in my last episode, is going to have its own unique flower. I still haven't decided what. We're going to get the leaves first. And for the leaves, that's my second idea. I want to take and do a fade, going from really dark oak, to really light, either acacia, oak, or birch. I haven't really decided. We're going to figure that out, because technically there are 6 leaf types and 5 layers. So it's not going to match up perfect, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure out how this is going to go. Granted, I think there was 2 leaf types that looked really freaking similar. I think it was jungle and oak. But regardless, we're going to figure it out. Currently, this is my leaf stock. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. There's not very much. I actually have a bunch of jungle over there-ish. They're not rendering. I do have an absolute frick ton of spruce. Mainly because spruce is the main one that I farm to get lots of wood. Because farming it is easy. Anyway, I need leaves. I need a lot of leaves. Because each of those layers, just for the dirt, took a shulker and a half of blocks. That's a lot of blocks. And I'm gonna need probably bare minimum 3 times that. More accurately is kind of 5 times that. So I'm gonna need 6 shulkers. 6 shulkers-ish of leaves. I do have a couple little stockpiles around. Yeah. This is oak. I thought this was jungle. Oh, there's some jungle leaves. Okay, so we have some jungle leaves. But to be honest, these 2 are very similar in color. They're very close. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is, since I'm currently living on cough drops and not able to talk very much, I am going to quickly try to get a ton of leaves, and then I will check back in with you guys as soon as I have some more. So, epic leaves in 3, 2, 1. So, actually, before we get to the giant pile of leaves, I remembered something 20 minutes after recording that other clip. 119 is out. I can't remember which update Moss was in, which also brought azalea leaves. There's 3 new types of leaves, and they're not even new. I'm recording these videos early, so it's currently January of 2023, Like, these are not new, but regardless, I remembered them. So I took a little while. This is my base over here. This is my base. This is where I was chopping my trees. I came out over here and I circled around and I went up here and I went over here and then I gave up and I was trying to get home and I just happened to find the tiniest little mangrove forest. But it's perfect. It's perfect because this means I can bring home mangroves. And now we can properly... Oh gosh, that was a terrible snap. Give me one more try. I'll edit that so it's nice. And then I didn't end up doing that because, once again, we are not here with leaves. In fact, we are in the least leafy place in Minecraft. We are in the Nether. And this time, I don't have a good reason. All I can say is I ADHD'd. So basically what happened as I was testing out some templates for how I was going to do the fade of these leaves, I realized that back in the days of me not doing YouTube and just working on this world because it's something that I love and care about, I actually did a whole biome blending, updated the seed and some stuff like that. I'll explain it later in a later video when it actually makes sense. But part of that left a giant chunk of rock directly above my storage system, and the whole thing is going to be open top, so it's going to be in daylight. So I wasn't being able to do proper leaf comparisons because, silly me, the place where I'm doing them is also directly under that rock. So I needed beacons to get rid of the rock to do the leaf comparison to see how many leaves I would need to see which ones were going to be accent leaves that I would need less of so I could maybe do less work. And in all of this, I ended up making more work for myself, but in the end, I also ended up having a pretty epic wither fight, and it kind of worked out. And now we have leaves. It's taken me quite a while, and I also did some math. I finally took the time to do some math, and I found something out. So I was estimating that I would need at least 2 shulkers of each leaf type to do all of the leafaging and everything. Now, when I do leaves, I actually try to restrict myself a little bit so that I don't go overboard and end up with a jungle instead of something that's like nicely overgrown. And my general rule is start at 20%. Because 20% is like a lot when you think about it. Once you hit 50%, it starts to feel like that jungle over there. And I should also explain, when I say 20%, I mean 20% of your dead space, airspace, is filled with leaves. So basically you calculate out how big the volume of the area that you're filling is, and then you divide that by 5, and you've got 20%. That's the fastest way to do it. So what I did is I did a rough estimate based on how much I had for each of these floors. Granted, this is rough because I didn't write down the exact stack amounts of anything, and I do know that I used slightly over 9 stacks of each material, and there's 5 materials. So that's a shulker and 2/3. And when I got to the end of my calculations, I then multiplied that by 5 because this area is about 5 blocks tall. I probably could have stood to put 6 since we've got the ceiling, but I really want to only do the wall space. And doing 2 shulkers of each leaf type would end up putting me at around 47%. So I doubled what I needed. So actually, in all reality, I only need about 2 shulkers of leaves in general for each layer. I'll probably do that as a base and then go in and add an additional shulker on top of that if I feel like it's necessary. But I have so many leaves. I have so many leaves and I don't need hardly any of them. And I feel silly, but it's fine. We have leaves now. And now I can actually show you the fades that I did. So before I show you the ones over here, let's come over here. So my first step was to leave the jungle biome, because the jungle biome makes everything incredibly green. And you can't really tell the difference between the leaves when they are all green. So I came over here. I think this is just a plains biome. Is this a plains biome? Birch forest, you know, close enough. Anyway, I came over here and I took a little bit and I did a fade of the leaves. I feel like this is fairly good. The only one that I question is the spruce and the dark oak, but in the jungle it makes a little bit more sense. And yes, 4 of these look incredibly similar in color tone. I actually went back and forth on the jungle and the oak like 6 times. Because they all look so similar, but I'm going to use all of them anyway because they do have a different texture to them, which I think helps. Now that I'm looking at it, I almost think that the acacia should go in front of the jungle. We're not making any more changes. We're not making more changes. The next thing I did is I brought that exact color palette over here, and holy cow, can you tell the difference? It's green. It's so vivid green, and the darks are so much darker and the lights are so much lighter, and I almost regret doing this in a jungle. I specifically put this base in the middle of a jungle because I love the very lush grass and I do love the way that the leaves look. But trying to do a fade with these guys in the jungle, awful. Anyway, my next step was to then come down here and compare if I actually wanted the fade that I had just developed. So what I did is over on this side, I just have oak. I just have 3 oak leaves sitting on each level. And then over here, I actually took a really long time to figure out how I would place each of these to get a proper fade. And basically, the way that it lines up is you've got azalea, jungle, oak, acacia, then jungle, oak, acacia, mangrove, then oak, acacia, mangrove, birch, acacia, mangrove, birch, spruce, mangrove, birch, spruce, dark oak. So you have almost a stripe going down, and I like it. I do actually like it. I like it a lot more when I actually see them broken up, because I think once we scale this up and have it across this whole area, it's going to be a lot more evident, and I think it will give it a little bit more like pizzazz and some life. So I also then, to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see what I'm saying, made this little mock-up. So basically, top row is the top level, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or there's not 6, there's only 5. Can you tell that this is making me slightly lose my mind? Anyway, I want to level with y'all. I have put so many hundreds of thousands of hours, and I'm almost not kidding about that. I've been designing this storage room for a year. Anyway, it's been a full year. I also did the same thing over here. If we come up here, please ignore the giant patch of bird poop. we have the same thing, and you can slightly see how it blends better if you're in a different biome. So I think this is going to be more of how it comes across once you get all of the space in between everything. But oh dang, it's been a journey just getting the leaves for this, because I spent, and I kid you not, a full week cutting down trees over in my tree chopper over here. And I did, I think, a stack or so of each. Yeah. So I've done about a stack of everything except for spruce, because I had an already insane amount of spruce and I didn't need more. And then mangrove. So surprisingly enough, right? And I even have some more of my stack over there. Mangrove puts off so many leaves. So many leaves. And I like them. They're like droopy. Anyway, so I have actually run out of time to film this episode, which makes me really upset because I wanted to get all of the leafage in. And like, I'm a bit disappointed that I'm going to have to tell you guys it's going to wait till the next episode. But to make up for the fact that we didn't get it done, we did do the math to make sure that I'm going to be putting in a correct amount of leaves. And I did make another important decision. I made a very important decision. I'm very happy about it. So I'm actually going to bop over to my test world, where I took a little bit of time and I've decided on the flowers. And to no one's surprise, I decided on all of them. So what I'm actually going to do, and don't worry, this is not the actual storage system. This is a very, very large copy of the entire storage system that I put into a creative world that has other little things and stuff. But I came over here so that I could test like kind of what colors I like. And as I was doing it, I just kind of automatically went with a half rainbow effect. So yes, is it weird that there's white and then yellow and purple before blue? Very much, but I like the way that this reads. And don't worry, the flowers are not going to be this densely packed. I more did this to give me an idea of how the color is going to look. So this means, right, that between the leaves, the flowers, I've also got some glowberries and some bamboo. Yes, I will be adding bamboo. I don't know how that's going to work with the 120 update, because I do believe they're adding bamboo wood. Am I going to have to go back and like change things? I don't know. I should probably look into how 120 works. But I should have everything, including a little something else that I've been working on. I decided that I really don't like how the andesite reads. It feels too stony. So I am going to be moving to a different trim. These are the 3 options that I have brought to my personal table. I have already made my decision, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is. I am actually going to do all of the leafing, all of the redoing stairs, because that's going to take me like freaking 10 hours plus in between episodes. And I will show you all of this at the beginning of the next episode. So please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Comment is the most important thing because I love reading them and I love hearing your feedback. And I'll see you in the next episode with, fingers crossed, a fully decorated storage system that's only taken me a full year of planning. Wolfie out. When you get a minute and a half into recording, and then you just barely realize that, like, you weren't recording the whole time. Yeah. Anyway. Ooh, we continue. I can put that as a blooper. So for those wither fights that I mentioned earlier in the episode, and yes, I did say fights, I did 2. The first one was actually pretty chill. It didn't take me very long. It was very typical cheesed wither fight, and bada bing, bada boom, it's already done. Now the second fight, that's where things decided to get dramatic, because as you can see here, it went into a gravel pit. And he went straight up, and I could no longer hit him, and it just turned into a whole thing. I was really in trouble. I was trying to dig out areas for him to go back into my little passage. I was basically trying to prevent him from going up into my base, because if he did, that would have been horrible. He would have destroyed a bunch of stuff. And then also, while I was fighting him, I didn't stay fully protected, and I made a huge mistake. I went out. I ended up being very close to him. Somehow, I didn't actually find this out until editing. I also managed to shoot him in the face. Luckily, I didn't get caught on a ledge while that happened, or else I would have been so screwed. I would have ended up dying, which would have been really unfortunate because I actually have, I think, 5 days worth of time that I haven't died, and I'm trying to make sure that that stays pretty high. But eventually I worked him out into a little cubby hole, and finally, through a lot of swords work, he fell to my blade.